I don't know what happened there.
Rejoice. Hello.
Hi.
Okay, that works. Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah? Okay. So, right, we're in nice and early. The previous session is still going on right now, but it's about to finish. So please just don't go anywhere. Do not leave the call or anything as much as you can, because I've had a nightmare. So just don't touch anything.
No, but once we're on the call, like for example, we want to show our PowerPoint presentation. Do I just click on the presentation and that's it?
Yeah, you just click the screen share up like we did in the test.
Can you remind me?
How to do that?
No.
Yeah, that's fine. If you hover over my face, you'll see a toolbar pop up on the left side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the second icon down, and then it's the first option.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fine. And I just click on that and our presentation will come up.
Yeah. Okay,
Cool.
so when that session is done in a minute, you'll be going on a tour of the truck with me. I'll be picking the laptop up and going and plugging the camera and the microphone in there, okay? And then we'll get on with the session.
And we can get ready this end then with our two speakers.
Yeah, you can go ahead and get ready now if you want.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Okay.
So I don't know, do you want to put it on here, I think, the laptop? And you're supposed to sit behind the desk.
I don't mind it. It's.
I can sit next to Peter. We can sit there.
Just sit here.
It's probably good to have a window behind you because the light sometimes you're going to get.
So maybe
So we're going to
there's-
be seen then, are we?
Yes, if it's so.
Or bits, and then you'll have your PowerPoint as well.
So could we come on stream at any time?
Well,
He's going to take the computer around.
We're on B-roll at the minute, as it were, and they'll connect us up and we'll go live to the studio. No, not quite, but live to Leicester City Football Ground at least. Could it be higher by any chance? I wonder if we're going to make it a little bit higher just for the sake of.
Oh, I thought I was going to put those on.
All right, were you? Sorry.
Is that better?
It's better to get headshots rather than you get
Yeah.
waist up.
Is that better?
Keep going. Do you need that?
No.
Let's just see if we can get it a bit higher. That's probably a bit better.
Yeah.
Makes us look a little bit more kind of.
A bit closer. Is that all right?
What's on your wall that you're worried about?
Should we sit there? Did you mind sitting on the sofa and then we get the Queen in the background rather than my scruffy whiteboard?
That's probably slightly better. Height.
Very good.
Picture of the Qatari flag.
Take my coat.
That's not plugged in. We've got enough power.
No, there's not. It's fully charged.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Looks pretty good. It's on for about an hour, so we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
I've got a dash out at 2:30. If it's not finished, then Peter, you'll have to. So you want to do the? I'll do the first bits, and then you want to do the opportunities and doing business.
Lovely.
And then I think there'll be Q&A.
Yeah, I try and get into the Q&A quicker because that's usually where the meat is. Nobody wants to talk about anyone else's business other than their own. Kind of what it comes down to.
How do you change the slides, sir? Do we know that yet?
Yeah.
Well, in a minute,
You come to the side,
I'll share our screen,
the green bit.
that one, and I'll open up the PowerPoint, and then that's it.
So will people see us? Will they see the PowerPoint?
And the
us?
PowerPoint is up, they'll just see the PowerPoint.
Oh, okay, I got you.
But in
They'll hear our voices in the meantime, and
So
then
we
we
just
click out
need
the
to
PowerPoint.
introduce
So at the end
ourselves
of
and
the
then go straight into it.
yeah, so at the end of the PowerPoint, do you want to go back to you, or just keep the last slide up or whatever?
If it's Q&A, they should see us, should they?
Probably. It's always better to see a face than just hear our voices.
Bit of apple.
Hold on. One of the things that we've got contact details for people to contact us.
No.
You can just say say contact.
Yeah. I often find it's easy to cut out, not that I'm trying to cut out the middlemen, but it's often easy if they've got questions, when it passes through 2-3 pairs of hands, it's the Chinese whispers, you never quite get the question right, the answer doesn't get translated back the same way.
Not on a very personal level, like you said.
It's far better to get everybody on one Skype call and just talk them through it. Just have the ITA, have the customer, have us at the other end, we're all on the same call, we're all asking some questions, it's much easier. I think. Sorry to talk. Now, I don't know if Simon has seen that in my office. I have a nice poster with all of that put up on the wall. We've got the big family tree you can put up on the wall.
I was going to get one. I was that close to getting one, and they changed the cabinet. So, I'm waiting for the update.
He does them about once a year, Michael Fields. Curiously, I asked him, how did you start this? And obviously, you've been doing them for other countries enough, not just ours. And he said, well, he got hold of a copy from the British Embassy of an Arabic version many years ago. And I said, was it on the wall in an office in the old embassy? He said, yeah, it's a chap I spoke to. I said, yeah, I think I put it up on the wall. I spent a lot of time trying to map the family back then.
Oh my God.
So I'd scribbled in bits and pieces. And I tried to put women into it as well, married to such and such, the daughter of such and such. I draw little lines. And he said, yeah, I remember there was a few women on it and there was quite a lot of spider writing. I said, that was my spider writing.
Gone into business.
Yeah. Well, he's made money on it, but then he's done all the work to actually kind of,
that's a lot of work,
polish it
actually.
up. It is. And it just grows and grows exponentially, because you get the next generation coming through. You've got another 150 to write.
You actually find it all out as well. I mean,
well, he visits quite regularly.
I was going to say you have to, because you can't find that stuff out online.
No, I mean, he was the FT correspondent here for 10, 15 years in the Gulf. So I think he's made his own contacts around.
Have to.
And I think he's a fluent Arabist, so he can sit down and look around and read stuff and pick up more. So he can sit down in the marginesses and have a chin wag.
Just retired.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. He's quite, I wouldn't say he's elderly, but he's, I think, late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah. Time in his hands.
And it's obviously nice money. It's about 50. They're about 1,500 quid each. I got the pair for 1,500.
Yeah, they're expensive. Yeah.
10 minutes to go, in theory. We're 11 to 11:40, I think, aren't we?
I think so.
Every time I type in AJ, I get that bloke from Biffy. Who I know from a previous life.
Another AJ.
Another AJ Sharma.
And it pops up in the
completely different character.
Yeah.
It's one of these, in some ways you like predictive text and predictive email, but when you screw it up and it goes to the wrong person, you think that's just such a risk.
I know, it is.
I'd rather turn it off and just say I'd rather type in the address.
I do really rely on it now.
Yeah. Well, I made the mistake of Sarah.Taylor.
I know.
And not Sarah.Taylor2. Oh, maybe you forgot.
She's
It's Matt Lawless, was the guy. He's the chap from Vital Certificates who's trying to do this legalization and attestation thing.
I've got to reply to him.
We've done some work with him. There's a thing that we kind of tried to do at the beginning. It's not
Are they
a
wanting
huge
to set up
milestone
here?
for us. They're looking at QFC,
Okay.
and I think he wants to try and work out what does the embassy do and can we bolt onto that. He's worked with Joe Heckworth in the team down in Dubai, and I think he's quite keen to set up here because he thinks he gets a fair bit of the business any. It's only 3.
It did quite well, to be honest.
Yeah,
Because
well,
there's so many Brits that ask me about
attestation and realization.
Yeah.
I mean, we do that. That's one of the things that the chamber has agreed with him, a kind of a partnership whereby we can, with a one-stop shop. You come bring us the papers, we'll fire them off to the UK. He'll get it all done, send it back. You settle up. It's easy.
No, I've pointed a few people in your direction. I don't know if they've come, but
someone comes through.
I mean, a lot of them know because in the old days it was just like you just came here.
That's right.
Paid you 25 quid, whatever it was.
Well, that's kind of what I thought. The advantage, and I explained it to Matt at the time. I said, because people are used to going to an office that's got some kind of official sign to it, they just like the idea they get a stamp on something and off they go.
Yeah.
So actually, it's a shame I kind of got Michelle into the place and then she didn't quite do it the way I wanted, which was ask them to come in, let's look through the documents, let's give them an official receipt with a nice big British Chamber stamp on it, so that they've got, we've taken your documents, we'll get it done. We go online, we type it all in, send it off to Matt, get it all sorted. Bang, there's our money spinner. Michelle said, I caught him, I didn't catch her. When it came up once, I said to Michelle, so we'll get, oh yes, I just give them the website of the person in the UK. Oh no, we want to make money here. We could have made some cash. But then what gets around, the chamber do it, If you just pass
I don't know. Unless it's
We're on. They're on. Can you hear me, guys?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. 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 Sorry guys, can you still hear me? Can you still hear me, guys?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to start in about 5 minutes.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead. Good afternoon, Joe. Can you hear us? Hello, Joe, can you hear us? Good.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
My name is Paul Forrest. I'm from the Midlands Economic Forum, and we have Simon Grandridge from UKTI Midlands. Basically, the structure is we're in the UKTI truck at the minute where we're doing this broadcast, and that's being streamed across the rest of the conference, where there's approximately about 1,200 people attending, and hopefully it's also being broadcast across our web, and it will remain there for at least a year. So, I mean, without further ado, I suggest basically do a brief introduction of who you are and then launch your presentation, and hopefully we'll have some questions at the end. Thank you.
Surely.
So, thank you. So, we're hearing you just about, I think. So, you must tell us if you can't hear us.
Sound quality is excellent.
Sorry?
The sound quality is excellent.
Oh, good. Very good. Very good. So, I'll try not to shout then. So, my name is Simon Kendall. I'm the Director of Trade and Investment here at the British Embassy in Doha. And
I'm Peter Cook. I'm the Managing Director of the British Chamber of Commerce here in Doha in Qatar.
so what we're going to do is that we're going to run you through a short PowerPoint presentation just to give you a flavor and set the scene. And then we'd be happy to take any questions and answers. So without further ado, we will move on to the PowerPoint. Bear with us.
Oh. I've got that one. I've got both.
Ah, that's the way it's wrong.
That one. That one.
I'm good.
So firstly, I'll give a brief introduction to Qatar. The countries of the Gulf have witnessed huge changes in recent years, and nowhere is that truer than in Qatar. Its population, its wealth, its skyline, its reputation have all grown dramatically. Qatar has gone from being relatively unknown to being firmly on the world map as a leading global gas supplier, as a hub for Al Jazeera, as an active player on foreign policy issues, most recently as the country hosts the 2022 World Cup. We in the UK have been lucky to know Qatar before these recent changes. The UK is in a good position in the sense that it shares a history that goes back almost 200 years, and this gives us the strongest possible basis for the partnership now and in the future. So for those of you who don't know Qatar, it's a very small country attached to the Arabian Peninsula. It's got a population of 2.3 million, which is increasing rapidly year on year. But there is only about 12% of that population is Qatari. The others are made up of expatriate workers from the GCC, from the subcontinent, the EU, the US. The head of state is His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and Qatar is on a journey to realizing its social and economic vision called the Qatar National Vision 2030, which sets the strategy and development priorities for the country. On the way to that 2030 vision is the World Cup, of course, in 2022, which gives Qatar some very important infrastructure deadlines. The bilateral trade between the UK and Qatar is around 5 billion a year. And UK exports of goods to Qatar and services are going up significantly, 20% in 2015 in comparison to 2014. So our exports are growing. Qataris are very comfortable with the UK and see the UK as a significant investment destination. We're number one in Europe, where they have invested over £30 billion worth, including the Shell Centre, Shard, Harrods, Heathrow, a number of other large and significant projects. There's about 6,000 Qataris visit the UK annually, 2,000 studying in the country in any given year. Also, Qatar supplies around 21% of the UK's total energy, so that's about 90% of our gas imports. So a very significant country indeed for the UK, and with growing potential. Its economy is doing well. The drop in oil prices has had an impact on Qatar, and but we think that the drop in oil prices will be managed by the Qatari government, and that they'll weather the storm relatively well. And if anything, actually, the authorities are trying to make the best of the fall in oil prices by arguing that it will enable them to correct the so-called negative phenomena of rapid growth. In other words, wasteful expenditure, overstaffing, lack of accountability. And these are things His Highness the Emir is very keen to address over the next few years. But what we do know, despite budget deficit, despite a slight reduction in Gulf, that major projects are still going ahead, and there is continued focus on diversifying the economy, infrastructure development, education, health, and defence. So I'm going to hand you over to Peter to talk about the specific opportunities in Qatar.
Thank you, Simon. Good morning, everyone. It's a lovely 24 degrees out here in Doha, although it's a little bit dusty outside. I hope it's a little bit warmer out here than it is at home. I would hate to think I've come all this way and it's you've got the better weather. As Simon said, there's a range of areas, a range of sectors where Qatar is particularly keen to expand and grow. You can see on the slide, we've listed 6 main ones, but generally speaking, all sectors are going very well. There is obviously these are the areas where we think that the most significant areas of money are going to be spent. Infrastructure. I think on the last slide we explained that Qatar has committed to spending something like $200 billion over the next 5 years. This is in a whole range of different functions on roads, on a new rail network, on a metro system, on a light rail system. They're keen to build a whole new city to the north of Doha called Lusail. That's supposed to be ready for the World Cup. Indeed, that's where the World Cup final stadium is going to be located, and already been announced for that. We're looking at new roads, new sewers. We're looking at a new port, an extension of the current new airport. All of these are happening as well. Plans to increase up to 50 million passengers by 2030. It's really the scale of the ambition that we're trying to get across here. That Qatar has an ambition to grow rapidly, but to do so in a very managed way and in a very kind of in a way that I think we would all understand and appreciate. And they want to be that kind of first world country, first world player on the scene. And obviously we stand ready to help them achieve that particular goal. If you look at some of the other areas which again feature as part of the Qatar National Vision 2030, one of the major commitments is to develop the human capital as well as the infrastructure. And so there's a lot of money being spent on education and training. They're looking at that as developing both Qatar nationals and developing their skills and experience and expertise, but also to look at some kind of national strengths, whether that's in science, whether that's in engineering, whether that's in services sector. Qatar certainly looking to develop its offer to try and diversify away from oil and gas and to put itself kind of more firmly on the map and build a more sustainable economy at the same time. You can see that, again, the infrastructure that they're planning around this, 36 new schools, many more modern campuses, universities. There are some already here, and many American ones. Georgetown School, Texas A&M are here, Carnegie Mellon, and many of the well-known, recognizable names from across the world are looking at Qatar as a destination for education services. And that's something that is certainly going to grow over the coming years. Healthcare too, again, a priority to try and improve the standards of healthcare. They want very much to become a destination for healthcare tourism, and where nationals from outside Qatar will come to Qatar, have their operation, have their recuperation here, and take advantage of first-class facilities and world-class doctors and world-class medical care. That is something that they're trying to increase. 8 new hospitals being talked about, 30 new polyclinics, primary healthcare centres are growing. They have got some specialisms already in diabetes and in the cardiovascular system. They're looking to build on those and try and build up some expertise in other healthcare areas. As Simon mentioned, defence and security, a primary area. in a region that's already very unstable, curiously, markets like Qatar remain islands of stability. And I think it's a testament to the way they've run their country and the way that they've managed things, that they're able to keep this place relatively stable. Business is prospering because of that, and that they're able then to host and to accommodate large numbers of visitors, host international events, put together a kind of a pretty good recipe for trying to manage the security situation. They certainly spend a lot of money on it. They are very keen to keep ahead of the curve, and consequently they're always looking for good technology, they're looking for the latest ideas on how to manage their security situation better. On the retail side, if ever you visit any of the shopping malls in places like Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and for that matter Qatar, you'll see lots of household names. You'll see all the normal high street brands, Marks and Spencer's, Boots, Body Shop. They're all here. They're all very prosperous. They're all successful. Qataris have a fascination with UK brands. It's what they see when they visit the UK. They like the idea of moving the UK high street out here. And so there is a very strong appetite for British goods, British services, British products. And that, I think, lends itself very well. It puts us in an ideal position to expand our exports out here and to try and help new companies enter the market. That the fact that the UK brand is so well understood and so appreciated. So all of those ranges are particularly attractive. And even if you have businesses outside those sectors, do come and talk to us, because I suspect there's plenty going on in the sector or subsector that your business is active in. But that just gives you an illustration that there's quite a lot happening. I'll hand you back to Simon.
So there is a, so we're doing this one.
Pardon.
So those of you that aren't familiar to the Middle East, there is a slight sort of difference in how you undertake business here. I've been here for the last 5 to 6 months, and one thing I've noticed is that face-to-face meetings certainly work better. And actually, I text message quite a lot here. Always quite useful to gather mobile telephone numbers and test them while the person is in front of you. And actually, I conduct a reasonable amount of business via text message. Emails don't particularly work here. So cold calling by email tends not to get any response. And even actually, those that you think would use their email tend not to use it as we would perhaps do in the West. I think another thing to suggest is that you visit regularly. And be consistent with who visits, so that the partner that you're trying to engage with doesn't see different people each time, but actually that individual is focused on building a sustainable relationship with an individual. Finding the right local partners and agents. This is really important. It's very difficult to get off the plane and start doing work here. You really do need a local partner here in the market, and that can obviously sometimes be very difficult to isolate who that individual should be. Qatar does prefer you to have a presence in the market. We do know of companies that have, say, UAE on their business card, or say that they're based in UAE. They tend to get a sort of a roll of the eyes at times because, they would rather you were here. If you're going to be here, then they'd like you to demonstrate that you're committed to the market. I'd say, importantly, be patient. Everything happens in its own time here, so deadlines can slip, things can happen very quickly, or things can happen very slowly. So I'd say be patient, or demonstrate the ability to be flexible and the ability to adapt when you need to. Don't be too transactional if you're doing business here. Drink the coffee, spend some time reading the newspapers, understanding what's going on. Don't lurch straight into business, say like you might do in a market like Germany. It's always better to have non-transactional conversations to start off with. Brevity, large reports, lots of text in English especially, I would say would in some cases not be read or taken in. So make sure the message is conveyed succinctly. And then two last points. One of them, there is bureaucracy here. I mean, there's bureaucracy everywhere, but there is bureaucracy here that needs to be managed, and also payments as well. So Qatar's got, I think, an unfair international reputation around payments, but payments can be difficult here. Most people get paid in the end. But you know, there are chances that contracts can have variations and other, but you just need to be patient and persistent and ensure that you do a good job. So those are some tips on doing business here.
Super. Really just the last slide that I have is to explain a little bit about the services which we can offer through the Chamber. They're very similar to the suite of services that UKTI offers through its OMIS system. But largely, we are here to try and help UK companies, particularly SMEs, enter the marketplace. And that involves all the various stages of a journey, starting with the preparation that you need to build up from back home, to understand the marketplace, to gather some intelligence on the marketplace, then to look at the specifics of, will my company succeed? How can I best approach the market? What would be the drivers? What are the factors I need to take into account? And then leading through to when you actually visit the market, introducing you to contacts, introducing you to potential customers and clients, agents and partners, distributors, if you like, trying to make sure that you've got the right approach, you've got the right kind of operation in place to support that. And then finally, once you get a foothold in the market, is how you grow your business from there on, what kind of marketing strategies you have, what kind of rules you need to be aware of. There are some rather peculiar rules about how you market yourself in Qatar. And there's a sensitivity around using the Arabic language and certain things that you can and can't say. And so it's quite important, I think, to understand those. Otherwise, you can fall foul of the system and be in a bit of a pickle. And so we want very much to offer those to companies that are coming out here. It might seem like it's an easy business, and in many respects it is. But it's also a different culture. It's also a different approach. And I think it does pay everyone to get good advice before they embark on an expensive journey, or before they embark on an expensive contract. Too many times, alas, we've come across companies that have not prepared them properly, and trying to exit from arrangements here can be very difficult and very expensive. So we'd far rather encourage you to spend the time getting the preparation right at the beginning than to make the mistake later on. But that's why the Chamber exists. That's why the Embassy and the UKTI team here exists. We're here to help you. It's an easy way for us to try and offer the best support we can to have your business as a success out here.
So in summary, we'll just put up some contact details for you there. This is a challenging and competitive market, but the UK has got a good reputation. So you can be successful here if you've got the patience and you spend the time and effort in carefully developing personal and business relationships. And the Chamber and the British Embassy are here to support you in those endeavours.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. That was a really thorough overview of Qatar and Doha. Looking at the trade figures, then up to 2014, exports from the East Midlands had trebled by 2014. If we had a direct flight between the Midlands and Qatar, I think that would be growth in exports would be even stronger. There has been a slight slowdown just recently, but one of the key features about the East Midlands is that the merchandise trades, the manufacturers do a lot of servicing contracts. So actually the economic or trade relationship with the East Midlands and Qatar is probably understated by as much as 30% when you look at the imports that get in. Anybody got any questions?
More than about the World Cup and merchandising opportunities for British companies.
I don't know if you heard that. Somebody just tweeted in asking about the opportunities associated with the World Cup in terms of marketing and merchandising.
Surely. It's still a few years away. They haven't yet progressed very far in the processes for that kind of stage of World Cup delivery. There is an organisation committee, much like there was for the London Olympic Games, a LOCOG, if you like. They're still going through the processes of tendering for the stadia, both the design and then the contracting. So they're doing a lot of the major infrastructure at this stage. It does, however, I think, pay companies to come and explore the market. If you're interested in merchandising or marketing or some of the ancillary services around a large world kind of scale event, it is worth coming out and exploring the market and looking to find the partners and distributors that you might need in order to be ready that when these particular opportunities do open up, you have the arrangements in place. Dare I say that it takes 6 months, probably maybe a year, to actually go through the processes of establishing the right relationships out here, whether that's establishing a company in your own name, whether you're working with a local partner, whether you're looking at just finding distributors and clients. It does take a little while to build up a business. And I would encourage anyone who's looking at the marketplace to get in touch now, even if the opportunity isn't currently live. Be ready, and you have all the arrangements in place when that does happen. You can be amongst the first.
Okay. You mentioned a little bit about culture. How do you think the Qataris will deal with the fan zones that will be set up during the World Cup? Will that be like neutral areas where there will be alcohol and display or people dispensing it, or?
Well, the Qatari authorities are taking a very pragmatic approach. They've obviously, they understand the challenge. They do appreciate that this is something that football supporters will expect. They've not shared huge amounts of detail on exactly how this will happen, but they've acknowledged that they want to find a good solution, and they're talking to a number of consultants about what the best arrangement should be. And so I think you're going to find it's a very live issue. It's a very sensitive issue, clearly, for them. They've got their own religious views and religious approach to them. But they want to be an international player, so they're going to try and strike the best balance.
But I think when I was in Qatar a couple of years ago, they were actually talking about playing the football games in air-conditioned stadiums. So perhaps there's some opportunities for air conditioning companies that are based in East Midlands to look at getting involved with, which will obviously be quite a sophisticated stadium development.
I think if you're talking about are you talking about the weather of holding
Yeah, because when I was there last time, obviously it gets a little bit warm in Qatar, which means we get running around the football pitch, but we're talking about blasting the pitch.
So I think they have got innovative plans around air conditioning, as they have in like Lusail, which is what I can say is the World Cup will be played here. And for those of you that have ever been here in December, you'll realise that it's actually quite nippy. It's actually rather cool, and I would say optimal conditions for a football match. I mean, they have an international tennis competition here, which is held early in the year, and actually people are wrapped up in coats and blankets over them. So it does actually get reasonably cool in the winter, and I think it will be a good time to host some.
I think the other point is also very striking for me, that anyone who's active in the air conditioning sector, again, get in touch with us, because they are hoping to try and develop all-round sporting occasions and all-round sporting events. And so whilst the World Cup may be happening, they do have these innovative technologies that they're trialing. They're very excited about them. They want, I think, to demonstrate that there is no bar, no inhibition on trying to run sporting events at any time of the year. Qatar was very comfortable with the idea of doing a summer World Cup until FIFA decided they preferred it in the wintertime. That's absolutely fine. Qatar was happy to have that. But I think they would be very keen to explore new technologies, and would be very keen to meet companies who've got something to offer in that respect.
I agree.
If you want to learn how to run a successful football operation, obviously you need to come to Leicester as well. You've got a question from the floor.
I'm from the University of Leicester, and can you hear me all right?
Yes, just
about. I'll shout. I'm particularly interested in security and intelligence and in education, but we haven't got sort of local partners or links. What would you think as a university, our first steps should be?
Gosh, security and defence. And the University of Leicester, what's the link? Sorry, is this for research or commercial endeavour?
research and consultancy on education systems and infrastructure, on security and intelligence infrastructure as well. So we would be providing research consultancy services.
Okay. Well, we will have in April a dedicated officer who will be looking to develop the security side. So in other words, policing security. And that person starts in April. We have a good relationship with the Ministry of Interior here at the university, and it's a sector very much that the embassy looks after. On the defence side, I don't think you've asked about defence. You asked about intelligence, I think. That's not an area I can comment on, unfortunately.
Okay. Is there anyone in the chamber I could be in touch with?
By all means, come and contact us. Let me answer a little bit on the education side, if I may, and I can take a bit more of an uneducated stab at some of the. There are lots of consultants and indeed other universities who have been out here marketing those very skills. So I wouldn't want to be misleading and not suggest that there's already quite a busy marketplace in those two sectors. But there's always room for new players. There's always room for people who have got a particularly fresh approach, something new to offer. So we'd be very happy to talk to you about the specifics of that. Certainly in Qatar, in the Qatar marketplace, both the administration, the authorities here, and a lot of private citizens are very keen to make themselves secure and are keen to have security in place for their businesses. When we're talking about intelligence systems for maintaining security at particular sensitive plants and critical national infrastructure around the oil rigs, for example, areas like that, you can imagine that there's quite a high sensitivity, and consequently they're very keen to get good advice, understand what new technologies are becoming available. They're regular attenders at all the international shows in this respect, and that's certainly an area that I think would be potentially quite interesting to develop. And so do please get in touch if you're interested there. On the education side, there is a massive interest in all that the UK can offer. They predominantly like their education delivered in English. That automatically puts us at the top of the league table of potential suppliers. They like our standards, they like our qualifications, they understand the kind of system that we operate, and are very familiar with things like city and guilds courses, with our vocational training, with our degree system in universities. So I think there's an appetite for them to do more in this respect. I think the two areas that lend themselves immediately for work for a university, let's say like this, would be to explore how they might be developing vocational training, trying to put skills as well as education into the marketplace, how they can grow their own educational base. They have a number of intelligent people who obviously attend universities overseas, many of them in the UK. When they come back to take part in society in Qatar, then they discover that they lack some skills, some practical skills, some vocational skills. And so I think there's quite a lot to be offered in that respect. And that's one area. I think the other area that lends itself particularly well is public sector training. And again, they're looking very much at developing a stronger civil service, at developing better systems in the service, better management, better planning, looking to develop stronger systems in nursing and healthcare, in basic security, police training, in areas like that. So there's quite a demand from this. It's how you. But I'd be very happy to be offline with you if there are things that we can do.
That would be great.
Excellent. But one of the things that I've had a number of questions about is the potential for the luxury goods market. So presumably it's quite extensive and deep in
Happy to do that. Huge appetite for. There is the desire for Ferraris, and the Ferrari lifestyle is particularly acute. People do like to have the latest. They want to be fashionable. They're very fashion conscious. And so they're looking for particularly attractive things that help lend themselves to their own reputation, the personal kind of the bling, as it were. We've done a lot of work with a number of different brands over the last year to try and help place them in the market and get them on the right shelves and in front of the right set of customers. It's an area that's growing very rapidly. We've had good contacts recently with people like Qatar Duty Free to get access through airline sales and in the airports. We're talking to a number of the major department stores here about access for high quality luxury items from the UK. So pretty much a very warm welcome to anyone who's coming to offer, provided it's fresh, it's different. Imagine again, it's quite a marketplace. A lot of players already active. So companies should think a little bit about can they offer something new, fresh and different that would catch the eye.
Excellent. In terms of exhibitions and trade fairs coming up, is there anything of particular interest you think might be of interest to East Midlands Company?
There are a number that happen in Qatar throughout the year. I think there's a Doha beauty show coming up. There's a baby wear show that I think is due in April. I can't remember off the top of my head the date for the year. I'm very happy to anyone who's interested. They will do in the autumn. They will have a security conference, Millipol, that will be coming up quite soon. A lot of the Qatari businesses also attend Dubai. Dubai tends to be the major hub for these business shows. Gulf Food was very recently in February, and we traveled across to attend that. Arab Health in the healthcare sector takes place in Dubai. A lot of the primary businesses here, a lot of the primary customers here visit Dubai. It's 45 minutes away from a plane. It's a very easy journey for them to make. So timing visits coincide with events in the Emirates, for example, is a very attractive way to look at visiting the marketplace. And I would always encourage anyone coming out to spend an extra day and visit Qatar, because I think they'll find the opportunity just as strong and just as lucrative as they would find elsewhere in the Gulf. So it's a timing kind of factor to look at.
I suppose one of the interesting areas may also be Islamic tourism, given the rather large Islamic art museums that you've got.
Very much so. Very much so. Anything that has an Islamic flavor clearly has a strong synergy with the marketplace. And I think there is an appetite to try and demonstrate that Qatar can help lead in those particular areas. So I think they'd be particularly keen to meet anyone who's got an offering that has a strong Islamic effect, Islamic sense to it. It's a growing area, a lot of interest. We'd be very happy to come to offer. We could introduce them.
Okay, that's really excellent. I don't think we've got any more questions. No, we're okay on all the questions. Obviously, we'll put this up on our website and we'll leave it there for the next year or so. And on behalf of UKTI, obviously, this is just seen as an intermediate step. And the next phase is actually inviting me across the East Midlands and hopefully leading into a corporate mission in the next year or so. But thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you.
Not at all. Delighted to see you. Do come out to Qatar.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We've got two